The last thing we're going to talk about on our match card today, it's time for the main event. And it does have to do with the man that CM Punk left behind, because we got the reveal of what's going to happen to this evil, sinister, the Elite group. They're running the show backstage. They're making all these decisions, firing guys, taking Tony Khan's parking spot. How could they? And who's going to step up to them? FTR came out and defended people against the Elite last week and got beaten up for it for trying to fight Kenny Omega. So Kenny Omega comes out in a hospital bed, a la Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. And he says, we are going to have at Double or Nothing an Anarchy in the Arena match, and it's going to be the Elite, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, Okada, and the scapegoat Jack Perry verse FTR and two members of their choosing. And then at the end of the show, a little bit of overrun, which isn't really an overrun when you constantly do an overrun every week. Your show is just now 2 hours, 10 minutes long. But yeah. It loses its luster after about 17 in a row. But anyway, FTR comes out and they've chosen their combatants in this Anarchy in the Arena match. And the first song we hear, to a very large pop, is my man Eddie Kingston, who looks like a rabid dog when he's out there ready to absolutely tear someone apart. And he has storylines with all these guys, so I'm very excited to see that. Okada was the one that took the belt off of Eddie Kingston. And then the last music that you hear is Bob's favorite man. Bob, talk about the feeling you had when this man came out.
I like, everybody was popping. Everybody was excited. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This guy got injured in this match last year. Bryan Danielson, he's just never healthy. Why are we putting him in these matches? Like, he's just had the greatest singles match of all time, pretty much, with Will Ospreay. Let's put him in this gimmick match where I bet my left leg he's getting hurt. Like, Jesus. But yeah, like that. Like, I just know he is. We already know that story is after the Bryan Danielson suffers concussion. It just is what it is. Like. But, I mean, it's going to be a fun match, but why Bryan Danielson in this match? It's so frustrating to me. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. This guy's always injured here. Like, let's stop putting him in these, like, Hell in a Cell type match, like, stadium stampedes. Let's give it a rest. He's a technical wrestler. But, yeah. Do you agree with me on that? Like, why is he in this match?
I put it this way. I don't think there's other than Ospreay, I don't think there's a bigger name in that company to be like, who's our last guy? Like, that's the perfect last guy. I will say the Anarchy in the Arena match was made excellent the past 2 years in a row. Why? Not because of the combatants or because of the match itself. They were great, but it felt different because both times we kept playing Dean Ambrose's John Moxley's theme music. That was the best. They just kept replaying it as these guys were beating the crap out of each other. It was complete chaos, and that added to it. And the fact that we won't have that this year, it makes me a little sad. I don't think you can keep replaying the Daniel Bryan music. It doesn't have the same effect. So I do believe John Moxley, if he's, I don't know if he's not healthy or because he hasn't been on TV for a minute. If John Moxley comes out to that in that D-Bry spot, I think it's the same amount of pop. And then you have that music back. And also they're part of the Blackpool Combat Club, which is good, which is bad. We don't know. Anyway, that's my only call on this. That's the only thing I'm missing. Well, what do you have to say?
I would have had John Moxley in this match instead of Bryan Danielson. He just faced Powerhouse Hobbs for the IWGP title or whatever a couple weeks ago. Now, Hobbs was the one who got injured in that match, of course.
Gotcha.
And Moxley's fine. Hobbs is out now. But no.
Poor AEW. All these guys getting injured, man, in both promotions. Anyway, I'm very excited to see this. I'm very excited to see this build. This is exactly what I wanted out of this evil Elite faction, and a very fun foursome to attack them in an Anarchy in the Arena match. And this is going to be a blast. Like with these matches, that when AEW puts these types of matches on, they always deliver. Sometimes they're a little bit gimmicky if they have a Chris Jericho type person in it, but I do believe this one. And you're right about being scared about what Bryan Danielson will be coming out of this match, because these 8 men in particular, there's going to be some dangerous moments in this match, and bloodshed will be had. I mean, coming into it off the jump, who do you think's going over in a way too early prediction here?
I'd go with the Elite. I think you have to keep building them up as monster heels. And Kenny Omega's not in this match, and he's being billed as like the guy, the sane one of that group, the guy that
Right.
the AEW fans should get behind in this rivalry. He's not in that
Right.
match, so I think they're going to give Team AEW whatever that's going to be the big AEW victory over the Elite whenever Omega's involved, I think. But just going back to Bryan Danielson, just protect Bryan Danielson from himself, Tony, please. That's my, just don't put him in the match. But overall, I just, like I said in the statement there, like would have been like if you had CM Punk in that hospital bed, this rivalry would have been the greatest of all time. But it's Kenny Omega.
All right.
So
enough. I will say the other again, I'm not trying to poo-poo this at all because I really enjoy what I'm about to watch as a wrestling fan here. I am a touch disappointed that the first time we see Bryan Danielson and Okada in an AEW ring together is, I mean, I guess you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, it's a
one-on-one match between them. You know, maybe they keep them separate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but anyway, that's the last poo-poo that I'm going to give you. But that's it for the match card of the show.